Assalamualaikum and good day. We are from Group 1 and this video presentation is for the class of Law of Information Technology. In this video, we'll be discussing on the legal issues in big data in relation to privacy, security and intellectual property protection. My name is Siti Nazihatan Amir, metric number 272863. Without further delay, I will be presenting on the introduction of this topic, including the definition of big data, the history and the importance of it. Big data is a collection of organized, semi-structured, and unstructured data that may be mined for information and used in machine learning, predictive modeling, and other advanced analytic initiatives. Aside from that, big data is a diversified amount of data that is growing at an exponential rate. So big data is frequently derived by data mining and is available in a variety of formats. In a simple understanding, making a call from a cell phone using social media and online purchases are examples that contribute to the accruement of big data. So anything that is linked to the digital reserve is big data, which is used by businesses to grow and capture potential clients. Next, historically, as mentioned before, big data refers to a large set of data which is vast and complex, thus is difficult to process using traditional methods. So for a long time, the act of accessing and storing massive amount of data for analytics have been practiced. However, in the early 2000s, industry analyst Dov Laney have formulated the now mainstream definition of big data as the three V's, which includes volume, velocity, and variety. In 2005, Hadoop, which is an open source framework for storing and analyzing large data collection, was founded. So during this time, NoSQL began to gain prominence. So the emergence of big data was helped by the invention of open source frameworks such as Hadoop and more recently Spark, which makes huge data easier to deal with and store. So, big data is crucial in today's world as companies will use it into their system to generate targeted marketing campaigns, enhance operations, provide better customer service, and take other measures that can generate revenue and also profitability in the long run.
My name is Ainur Sofia Betty Noridan. My metric number is 280775. I will be explaining about the big data in relation to privacy. Malaysia has no specific law such as Privacy Act to govern personal privacy, except for the Personal Data Protection 2010, PDPA 2010, which regulates the processing of personal data in commercial transactions. The scope of big data is undeniably quite wide. Hence, in this part, I will only focus on the relation of e-commerce to big data in respect of the consumer's privacy. The International Trade Administration 2020 reported that around 80% of the Malaysian population were active internet users. Its research also identified that more than 50% of the Malaysians use their device to shop online. This proved that big data is becoming more prominent in the e-commerce industry and contributes to storing, processing, and interpreting massive volumes of data. Nevertheless, the groundbreaking impact of big data to the commercial industry comes at a cost. The risk of big data can be seen in an incident of Malindor Air, which discovered a data breach of its passengers committed by their former employees of its e-commerce contractor. It was reported that the data of almost 30 million of the passengers of Malindor and Thai Lion Air were posted in online forums for sale on the dark web. It is obvious that the nature of big data that frequently contains huge amount of personal data, identifies information of the users itself, has triggered the privacy issues of the users. This is due to the fact that the use of big data enables the data user to identify patterns and trends which may predict people's disposition, and it has prompted issues relating to privacy such as data profiling. In e-commerce, it is inevitable that there is a need to collect and use the consumer's personal data. In most online transactions, consumers will need to leave their personal data, and these traces of consumers' personal data will be left on the web in various ways. This indirectly causes leakage of consumers' personal information online. Moreover, this also concerns the right of the users when using the World Wide Web for their transaction. The legal issue explained before has shown that big data negates the working principle of data protection embedded in PDPA. The right to privacy is a multidimensional concept, and striking the right balance in terms of protection is indeed essential. In conclusion, the usage of big data in processing an individual's personal data has caused many fatalistic impacts, especially breach of privacy of the data subjects. This reality puts the most basic privacy mechanism of notice and consent that being practiced practiced for so long in PDPA to restrain. In fact, this method may expose individual privacy for the other users to access, as it will force individuals to make drastic manipulative decisions according to the information in a short time that may cause a long-term implication.
Assalamualaikum and a very good day to Sir Shamsul and my fellow classmate. My name is Zuhaidi Muzikifli. My matrix number is 273101. So for my presentation, I will be talking about legal issues in security pertaining to big data industry. Now, big data analytics is being used by corporations to find business possibilities, enhance performance, and guide decision making. Many big data technologies are free and open source, and they are not built with security in mind. Hence, many data security risks arise as a result of massive increase in data consumption. There are three identified legal issues here, which is first of all, endpoint vulnerabilities. Cyber criminals might tamper with data on endpoint devices and send the erroneous information to data lakes. Hackers, for example, can get access to industrial systems that employ sensors to identify process flaws. Second of all, data mining. In many big data environments, data mining is said to be its center. Patterns in unstructured data are discovered using data mining methods. Data frequently contains personal and financial information, which is an issue. Finally, it becomes an issue when access to sensitive data such as medical records, including personal information, is sometimes restricted by companies. Next, we will dive further into the legal means and enforcement in regards with security. The security concept is included as one of the data protection principles in the Personal Data Protection Act 2010 (PDPA). This principle states that an organization must have both technological and organizational security measures in place to protect the personally identifiable information it handles. Section 7 of the PDPA provides that a data user shall, by written notice, inform a data subject on the process or usage of their data. Section 9 of the PDPA provides that data users shall, when processing personal data, take practical steps to protect the personal data from any loss, misuse, modification, unauthorized or accidental access or disclosure, alteration, or destruction of the data. That is all from me. I will pass it to the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and a very good day, AHMAD SHAMSUL. My name is Faiz, and today I will be discussing regarding the legal issues involving big data protection under the intellectual property right within Malaysia. First of all, it needs to be addressed that in this country there has yet to be any express provision or express guideline on the protection of big data within this country. However, several issues may be raised in terms of copyright and patent law. First, let's dive into the issue of copyright protection within this country involving big data. The software being used in order to help segregate or transcribe the data that has been sourced online is important to be protected under the copyright, and if the elements under the Copyright Act 1987 involving the originality, fixation, as well as the status of the author could be fulfilled in order to qualify for a work to be original work, then therefore this software can be claimable under the law. The significance of such claim can be proven in the case of Ipcos Computers Limited and Mercantile Highland Finance Limited, where in the case the court held that a worker or a computer programmer that has worked on a company creating a computer program in order for them to function a certain way couldn't sell a similar comprehensive software to another party in order to protect the interests of the company in this matter. And since the big data analytics uses software that is very complex in order to compute all of the programs, therefore it is important and very pertinent to protect them under this law. Although the raw data itself cannot be protected under the copyright law within this country because it is usually considered as something which is unoriginal, Section 7 and Section 8 of the Copyright Act 1987 do provide a protection upon the database which is regarded as literary work or derivative work under the Copyright Act 1987. Therefore, a substantial use of the database could infringe the exclusive right of the owner of the database provided under Section 13 of the Copyright Act 1987. Moving along, we also have the issue involving the patentable discovery, where a company may discover something new, something that involves inventive step and industrially applicable through the big data analytics if all of the element provided under Section 11 of the Patents Act 1983 is fulfilled in this case. Therefore, it could arguably result in a patentable invention through the result of big data analytics.
Hello and Assalamualaikum, my name is Farano Shahira binti Mak Solehin and my matric number is 280513. I will be talking about the suggestion on how to improve big data in relation to privacy. Big data privacy cannot be an afterthought. It must be an integral part of the cloud integration and data management strategy. It must define and manage data governing policies to clarify what data is critical and why, who owns the critical data, and how it can be used responsibly. Authorities worldwide have used this data to develop policies and manage logistics as well as to monitor crime and public security. However, in Malaysia, organizations are prohibited from selling or sharing data obtained about individuals without the subject permission, as stated in the Personal Data Protection Act 2010. There are several instances of data being acquired without the consent of the data subject. The subject may utilize his or her right and submit a complaint against the firm or individual that sold the information. Complaints may be lodged with the Commissioner for Personal Data Protection. Consumers now have a voice in how their data is processed under the PDPA. They may even limit the quantity of data that is thrown out of business. The best way to ensure the security of one person's data is to work only with reputable service providers. Apart from that, it is advisable to have a distinct email address for signing up for products or services. Kindly assure that your passwords are strong and avoid reusing them across many sites. Nowadays, phishing is widespread. Any email that ends up in your garbage or spam folder should be carefully scrutinized if it is improbable that it is true. Fake calls from unidentified people are also prevalent. Numerous such calls request personal information under the pretend that your data is being misused.
Assalamualaikum and Hi, I am Ainur Batrisha binti Aminur Rashid. There are various ways to improve and tighten big data security policies. Data storage management is vital. Petabytes require auto-tiering. Auto-tiering generates sensitive storage activity records. A secure untrusted data repository aids in tracking undesirable file actions. Many organizations use unstructured data like images. Passwords should be encrypted with endpoint certificates. Regular resource testing and utilization of a mobile device management platform should also be implemented. Using big data should keep out intruders. Disgruntled employees are a security risk. For example, data scientists and software developers are typically not completely versed in security. People need to learn digital security. These systems can detect network breaches. Using a lot of bandwidth, the goal is to capture enormous networks. The use of big data can shield information obtained illegally through surveillance, theft, or bribery from competition. While any of the IP regulations can handle huge data assets, the law's expanding reach creates new challenges. In order to legitimize and resolve ownership issues, a new legal approach will be required. Meanwhile, trade secrets can assist protect honest rights stemming from the creation of such assets. Countries have independent intellectual property frameworks and institutions. As a result, specific breakthroughs and, more importantly, their legal protection are lost. So, IP ownership and rights are vague. Increasing the IP protections will be required as big data doubles in size over the next 2 years. It is important to recognize the necessity for protection, but it is also necessary to collect and handle data. Summarizing, global data can uncover inconsistencies.
In a conclusion, big data has its own advantages and disadvantages because the increasing amount of data available creates both benefits and also challenges. So in general, having more data about consumers or future clients should allow businesses to better modify products and also marketing efforts to ensure satisfaction of customers and repeat for the business. Besides, for the benefits of all stakeholders, companies that collect a massive amount of data are given the opportunity to undertake the deeper and richer data analysis. Therefore, Furthermore, with the amount of personal data available on individuals nowadays, it is imperative that businesses take precautions to safeguard that data, since this is an issue that has sparked heated debates in today's internet world, especially in light of the numerous data breaches that have occurred in recent years. Despite all of the advantages, big data can also lead to overload and noise, which reduce its usefulness. Thus, the larger volume of data must be handled, and it must be determined which data reflects signals against noise. So a critical issue is now to determine what makes the data relevant. Thank you.